Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you game 2 in a series. Excuse me, what am I talking about? You guys didn't hear me cough, I have a mute button. Alright, excuse me. Anyways, we have Mana spawning as the blue Protoss player on the top left hand side of the map. Meanwhile, LG's IM MVP spawning as the red Terran player on the bottom right hand side of the map. Life is good for MVP as he is up 1-0 in this series. Meanwhile, Mana looking to perhaps make up a little ground and see what he can pull together. Ohana, one of those maps where you automatically know where your opponent has spawned, and MVP did execute a very strong 2-base timing, hitting right around that 10-11 minute mark and really crushing Mana's fast expansion attempt, even though Mana did have a stronger superior tech army. The problem was that Mana didn't have Psystorm or Colossi to deal with the mass Marines. Without that AoE damage, which is at tier 3 for Protoss, there's not very much that you can do to try to stop a 5 racks pressure with double reactors, especially if you are getting split pushed. This time around, it looks as though, yes, Mana is going for a much more traditional 1-gate cybernetics core expand, most likely. Meanwhile, MVP actually sets up a supply depot here, making it look like he's going for some tech. This supply depot of 46 hit points could get poked apart by that probe. You gotta be very careful about that, as the probe will be slipping up the ramp in about another 20 seconds. Alright, barracks will be done here in just a moment, and refinery is being placed down. It is a little bit delayed for that refinery, as we should be upgrading to an orbital command here in just a second. Probe unable to get up the ramp here, so he perhaps is a little bit confused, is gonna see the wall off, and now Mana actually is playing a bit in the dark. He doesn't know what's going on inside the base. All he's gonna do is hide this probe and just be on patrol here. SCV and Marine now making a move down. As we are currently harvesting gas already, MVP should be going into perhaps a factory in just a second, as the Marine is now looking, and the SCVs are now looking for any sort of proxy pylon play. Taking a look at Tosh so far, Tosh has not set up a Nexus, instead going for a Stalker, has one Zealot already out on the field, and I am curious as to what Mana is going to be doing. This is not your economic game that I thought would be unfolding here, a 22 probe to 18 SCV advantage, but there are mules, as we have a command center now being built on the inside. We are going into a reactor, and we still see a lot of gas being collected by MVP. Double barracks now being placed down, perhaps a little bit playing in the dark. Both players just a little bit confused on what the other player is doing, as I am, or these guys are professionals and they're like, yeah, I know what you're doing, MVP. I know what you're doing, Tosh, and pretty much not doing anything there about it. Alright, so this looks to be a 3 racks expand, a similar build to what we saw, just a different order, and as many StarCraft players StarCraft 2 players know, it's not necessarily about the buildings, it's all about how you get to those set order of buildings. So you're going to see a 3 racks with the command center, but this is a completely different opening than what we saw in game 1. We are now going into double tech labs as well, so MVP is going to have a lot of time for Marines to be trained. We most likely will see combat shield and stim pack research right as these tech labs are completed. And with the orbital command already completed, we should be seeing this one command center be landing, or orbital command being landed in just a moment. Alright, there is that stim pack. Combat shield should not be too far behind, as probes are now being transferred down. 3-gate with a robotics facility. Immortals are not going to be that successful. Perhaps he will try to train up an observer here in just a moment. Marauders being added as well. Still no combat shield. A little surprised, as SCVs are now being transferred to the low ground. Harvester count 31 to 25. Double mules will help make up much of that difference as a probe now wandering around here still. Marines finally making a push out across the map. What will be happening here is Mana going to be setting up a proxy pylon down in this position. So far, we have 3 gateways, 1 robotics facility. There is that chrono boost out. He does not want to be playing in the dark much longer. He has no idea what's going on inside his opponent's base, and all he has to rely on is this timer, knowing that he perhaps has an expansion and maybe a little bit more. All right, Marines making their way out. Zealot now attempting to pull back and get back up onto the high ground. Observers are getting in position. MVP does have a superior army, I believe. Yes, by far. But it will come down to perhaps sentries and force fields in order to try and hold. You can see 3 sentries here. Enough for, I believe, 40 to 60 seconds of holds as the Marines and the Marauders. Are they going to perhaps try and poke apart these other destructible rocks? Yes, they are. And that is going to make for a very, very bad day. Combat shield about to be completed alongside Sim. 1 Immortal not going to be doing very much of anything. And this may come down to a counterplay. All right, Marines and Marauders, this is going to be a split army push. Where are these units going to perhaps run up first? And that is going to be the bad day here. You can see the Marauders and the Marines. There is the force field, letting just the Marauders and the Marines just be forced to run back around on the far side. And wow, MVP is going to actually get a very, very bad concave here. Very, very nice play by Mana as the Stalkers are now coming over. Are they going to be able to get off any more of those units? It looks as though the Marines and the Marauders trying to run back Stalkers, Sentries, and Zealots, with Immortals now giving chase. There is 1 proxy pylon. Is it going to be perhaps initiate that counterattack as the Sentries all low on energy and one of them very low on hit points does decide to regroup? Harvester count 37 compared to 46. This time around, Mana does have the lead. He has now the army advantage and also the income advantage, as you guys can clearly see. No mules currently being called down, perhaps using them for scanner sweeps, and there you have it. Observers have been shot out of the sky. Taking a look, Mana has a minimal sight inside the base. Bunkers are now being placed down as we are waiting for that factory to build on a reactor and then have a starport be placed down as well. 3 bases for Mana. Mana taking this opportunity to expand behind this. That is going to be a very strong choice since he does have a superior harvester count. And with that superior harvester count, we'll be able to move probes over to that third base and really take that economic advantage. Observer now on the move. Bunkers are down. Where is this Observer going to be going to next? MVP trying to regroup and regather himself. It looks like he is doing a great job there, regrouping and regathering. We are going to be seeing a reactor down now by the factory. And the Observer is keeping track of everything. Here you go. 1 Marine going to get picked apart before it even gets up onto that high ground as a round of Zealots now warped in. This Marauder looking for proxy pylons in all the right places. Actually going to run into a Zealot. That's actually going to be a little bit of a bad move there as the Marauder not going to do anything as the Zealot able to slice through that Marauder very, very easily. Pushing now with a low hit point Marauder. Not that smart of a move there. Alright. Income. Looks as though, yes, MVP has taken the lead once more. Mules are being... Nope, Mule just now being called down. So Harvester count 58 to 51. Probes are just being transferred. That was the reason why, as we now see Mana taking the economic lead once again. Alright, MVP sitting at 124 supply. His next follow-up play will be to just move out with these Marines and Marauders. He is only upgrading 1 at a time. And now Mana is also going into that extended thermal lance range. Does he have a Colossus? Yes, he has 2. And with Colossi with extended thermal lance range and the upgrades on armor and weapons damage, I do not believe Mana is going to be able to, or MVP is going to be able to really push through this. The 1-0 upgraded are not going to be doing much to the 1-2 upgrades. by the time that this fight does finally engage. All right, Colossi. Spotting those Colossi did force MVP to back off. He is now trying to train up some more Vikings. Vikings are being added here, but is the medevac count high enough? Only 2 medevacs, and now that Vikings are being trained, that's actually going to hurt him even further. We also see Psystorm in the picture as well, so it is going to be very difficult to try and deal the necessary damage. 3 bases to 2. The Marauders and the Marines are going to be trying to do a little bit of a split push. A probe does get taken down, and here we go. Where are all the units traveling into? Vikings now in position. Psystorm needs about another 3 seconds, and here we go. Here's the engagement. No, Marauders and the Marines are coming in for the push. Psystorm, there you have it. Across so much of MVP's units there. A very good engagement. Another group of Psystorm as the Colossus is getting taken down, though. The Psystorm, however, going unanswered. The Colossus have been taken down. Where is the more Psystorm? There it is, raining and raining. MVP now down by about 20 supply and growing as the Sentries Zealots now able to reinforce much more quickly. MVP now down by 15. Is it going to be enough? Not enough medevacs. Stim packs will have to be used very sparingly as the Vikings are still reinforcing, but that is not good enough. Archon now pushing, and MVP loses game 2 here on Ohana, forcing a game 3. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned to game 3 in this best of 3 series between Mana and MVP. Game 3 taking place on Whirlwind.